Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to the Starcraft 2 Ownage Shack. It's David here bringing you another Starcraft 2 commentary, and today it's going to be a Protoss versus Terran as promised, and for our Protoss player we're going to have CrunCher, the red Protoss, here at the bottom right position of Jungle Basin, and CrunCher is actually a Protoss player many of you might not be familiar with. I don't think he's had any coverage on any of the big name Starcraft 2 commentator channels, but just so you know, he's a 3300 Protoss player and he's in the top 300 in the world, so he's very good. Maybe he just doesn't play at a lot of tournaments and that's why he hasn't been cast very much. His opponent ROOTqxc, on the other hand, much more well known, the blue Terran up at the top left. He's a 3500 American player and he's 9th on the North American ladder, and he's had a ton of good finishes at tournaments in the MLGs and I believe other tournaments like the Go4 SC2 Cups. Could be wrong on that, but anyways, a very good player either way. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do on this map. It's Jungle Basin, and this is very interesting because it has a very safe expansion in your back door that does not have destructible rocks, preventing you from taking it early. So early expand builds are a very likely possibility here. They're so effective because there's really no way your opponent can get at this base until they take down these destructible rocks. So it's pretty safe early. You only really have to worry in the late game once these are gone. The only thing that a Terran player should worry about with these expos is that a Protoss player can put a pylon right there and warp in units across the gap, negating the effect of these rocks altogether. A very cheap strategy, very dirty in my opinion, but very effective. I've seen it done. The absolute worst it can get is when there are Dark Templar being warped across here. You will pretty much lose the game if you don't already have some turrets up or a Raven. So something you got to watch out for. Meanwhile, we do see standard builds coming from both players. It looks like gas, gateway, gas, gas and barracks for ROOTqxc. Looks like the scouts are already at each other's bases. Going to be just poking around, seeing what they can do. Actually not going to commit to much harass anyways. We have the Cybernetics core now on the way for CrunCher, and after this point that's really when you're going to see some deviation in a build. Sometimes a Protoss player will throw down a robotics facility right now to get out an early observer and just scout out what the Terran player is doing so they can react to it. Meanwhile, the ROOTqxc is going to be attaching that tech lab, pumping out a Marauder it looks like, and concussive shells is on the way, so probably going to see some early pressure here from ROOTqxc. There's no reason to get these upgrades early if you aren't going to be pressuring your opponent. Instead of these upgrades, you can invest in other barracks, maybe get your factory with that extra gas. So the fact that he's upgrading does suggest he will be pushing early. We do see a probe chilling out at the Xel'Naga watchtower here, and it looks like ROOTqxc's SCV is going to be at the other one. If you control both of these towers on this map, you can pretty much see any attack coming. You can see an attack coming from here, 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 and here. The only areas you need to worry about are these dark areas at the back door, which really won't play a role until the late game. Looks like the Marauder here is going to be moving that probe out and actually sends him straight to hell right there. So not just moving out, but dealing some damage too. We have one Marine, one SCV, and one Marauder on the way as CrunCher is expanding. So it is going to be an early expand here from CrunCher. With these few units, he's going to have to be very careful defending against this rush. We have another Marauder on the way here, it looks like, and he is going to be testing the front. The SCV is very important. It will tank a bit of damage for ROOTqxc so he can deal the critical damage he needs to versus the Zealot and the Stalker. It does look like he's going to be taking a stab at this Stalker, probably going to wait for this other Marauder as Stim is on the way as well as a factory. So it's going to be a 1-1 build for now. Looks like the Zealot is actually caught a bit out of position, and if he's smart he will take that out, but he chooses not to. He's completely ignoring it, going straight for the Stalker, and he is going to micro around, but it does look like he loses one Marauder at the cost of that Stalker, so another one actually goes down. Not a very healthy trade at all here for ROOTqxc, losing two Marauders and a Marine to just kill one Stalker. Some nice micro from CrunCher allows him to make maximum use of that Zealot, and the SCV actually goes down as well. But the only consolation for ROOTqxc here is that he did see the early expand, so he knows that CrunCher is going to be pretty low on units for now. We have a starport now going up as well as two additional barracks. ROOTqxc does love his one base play, so I'm not surprised to see that he isn't expanding yet. Despite seeing this, he's probably going to try and do some economic damage with drops. That is his preferred style of play, and it is quite effective on this map actually, because you can drop in the natural as well as the main. You can split up their forces quite effectively and deal ton of probe kills, so going to be interesting to see what he does. We have 3 Marauders already at the Xel'Naga Watchtower. A medevac is now on the way. Meanwhile, the Protoss player has 3 gateways, probably going to throw down a robo pretty soon. You do need to keep up on your tech, as we can see with the medevac and the factory already out. It's going to be a while before CrunCher here can catch up on the tech tree, but he is actually pumping out quite a few gateway units, going to repel those Marauders. Good reaction time there by QXC, pulling those away to make sure he doesn't take any needless damage. With 3 sentries and 3 stalkers, CrunCher can easily force field to trap some of those units and get some free kills. We do now see the Robo Bay, or sorry, the robotics facility constructing in the natural. One thing you do have to be worried about with this building placement is those drops I talked about. If you drop here, you can easily snipe this with 4 Marauders, dealing quite a bit of damage. One probe is going to be just wandering across the map here. Not sure where he's going. Maybe he wants to check for an expansion or put a pylon there, maybe. Who knows? Looks like he is, yep, going to be placing a proxy pylon. Meanwhile, an engagement at the ramp comes. A force field prevents these units from coming up, and looks like it's actually a pretty wise decision. He did lose a stalker there from a Marauder snipe, so nice job by QXC exploiting CrunCher's lack of attention due to constructing this pylon. We do see the probe now on the over here. A Marauder is stimming up to try and take it, and it looks like he's going to be ferrying his units across the little chasm here with this medevac. Going to be taking out a pylon, not going to supply block CrunCher yet, and it looks like he actually needs to get out of there without the support of these 2 Marauders, these additional Marauders. Ooh, very close to dying right there. Going to be healed up by the medevac, wasting a ton of energy. But anyways, without the support of all his Marauders, QXC will not be able to do too much. It's right now that I'd love to see a drop back here. Just split up those forces so you can do the optimal amount of economic damage you need. QXC is so far behind in economy right now. We see he's getting outmined in both minerals and gas, and he's behind on harvesters. Because of that, he needs to deal damage, or he's really going to fall